Gladly. I have something I would like to talk with you about if you have a moment. Have you thought more about what we talked about earlier? I am still waiting on your answer. Sorry, what is it that we were talking about again? I can't really seem to recall. Oh, please. Don't go and play stupid with me, young lady. You know exactly what I am talking about. I am talking about the talk we had the other day about me moving in with you and Jeremy. That talk. Oh, right. That. I'm sorry, but I was under the impression that we had already talked about all of that and that I told you the answer was no. You can't come live with us. Ugh. You can be such an insolent little brat sometimes. Do you know that? Why do you always have to be so stubborn? Do you really hate the idea of having me living with you two that much? Do you hate me that much? How about we just all try to live together for a week and see how it goes? I mean, don't you think that all these fears might just be in your head? I doubt it would be half as bad as you are imagining it would be. What? Grace, no. Of course I don't hate you or anything like that. I just think that having 3 people all sharing the same space would be pretty difficult is all. And besides, we are all active at different parts of the day. So someone in the house would always be making noise and keeping the rest of us up. But you wouldn't have to worry about that at all. After all, I know that you do most of your work at night, right? And then you sleep in the daytime. But if I lived with you guys, then I could take care of all the housework in the afternoon and you could wake up to a clean house every evening. You see? It is a win-win for everyone. Well, the thing is that Jeremy and I already split the housework and there really isn't that much to do anyways. So I don't think we would really get that much out of a third person contributing. Okay, but come now. Do you think Jeremy really wants to have to keep cleaning up the house over and over again? I am sure that he is just so tired after he comes home from work. If the 3 of us all lived together, then all of your work would decrease and we'd all have more time to enjoy the day. Grace, I am really thankful that you would be so eager to help if we were to all live together, but I just really don't think I would be okay with it. Jeremy and I both agreed that it would just be the 2 of us living together, even before we got married, and I haven't changed my feelings on the matter since then. I really hope that you can understand. But our situations were totally different back then, weren't they? I mean, think about me. My daughter, Anna, moved out and my husband died not so long ago. It gets so lonely living all by myself. I understand, Grace, and I'm sorry that things are feeling really hard for you right now. I really truly am, but I just can't see it working out well. Well, it's not just that I'm lonely. Most nights I am also scared. I mean, I'm already an old woman. Now that I am living alone, what am I supposed to do if a burglar breaks in here or something? I'd be totally defenseless. Or what if I fell and there was nobody there to call an ambulance for me? You don't understand these kinds of fears because you're still young, but they are very real and frighten me daily. Grace, I really am sorry that you are feeling this way about your situation right now. But if you are really that worried about living alone, then why not talk to Anna about moving in with her? Oh no, I could never live with that girl. We really don't get along if we are together for long stretches of time. And you know that she told me that she doesn't even want to get married. I think I would be much happier living with you two than her. Well, I won't lie. That does very much sound like the Anna I know. But even so, I'm sorry, Grace. Well, please, can you just think about it one more time? If you are worried about how I will pay for myself, I still have lots of money left in savings, so there is nothing to be concerned about there. And I promise that I won't cause any trouble for you both while I am there. There will be nothing to worry about, I swear. Grace, I can't apologize enough, but this is something that Jeremy and I agreed to before we were even married. I think that even if I try bringing it up with him, that the answer is still going to be the same. I can't believe this. You both are really going to make a poor old woman live by herself in this dangerous world we live in. Don't you two even worry about me anymore. Just, please, talk to him about it one more time for me. There is no rush for an answer. I can be patient. Okay, thank you. Bye. Grace, I'm sorry, but you can't just ask that of me and leave. Sally, I just got a text from Jeremy and I am very confused. He told me that he still doesn't want me to live with you both. Why didn't you convince him to let me move in like I asked you? I didn't try to convince him of anything. I already told you the other day that the answer was no. But didn't Jeremy tell you that we talked it over again anyways and the answer was still the same? Of course I did. But you were supposed to convince him. That was what we agreed on. I really do not remember the talk going like that. By the way, just what exactly did Jeremy say to you when you two talked about it? Well, you are not going to believe this, but he told me that if I moved in with you two, that it would just be a burden on you. Isn't that ridiculous? He said that I never clean up after myself and doubted that I would do any housework if I moved in. Honestly, that boy can be such a brat sometimes. Don't you think so, Sally? Don't you think that was such a mean thing to say? I know that you don't really feel that way about me, though, right? Look, Grace, I am going to level with you. I do not really like the idea of living with my husband and his mom at all. It just really bothers me, and I know that I would not enjoy it as much as you say I would. Or at all, for that matter. But I am telling you that you would have nothing to worry about if it was me moving in. And I wouldn't be bothered by anything the two of you did either. We could all just live peaceful, easy lives together. It would be great. I am glad that you think you wouldn't mind anything about living together with us. But it is not the case for me. I just really do not want any more people living in our place than there already are. It is as simple as that. Okay, so does that mean that you really don't have any worries about me living all by myself? Even though I am just a poor, defenseless old woman? No, of course not. And I really don't think it is fair of you to say those kinds of things to me. Sally, the truth is, of course I want to move in to be closer to my son. But I also want to move in so that we can become better friends as well. Is that really so bad? That I want to get to know my son's wife a little better? Grace, of course that isn't a bad motivation, but I just do not want to live together, and that is that. I really wish you would just respect my wishes about this. If you really want to get to know me better, I think there are other ways that we can make that happen that don't include you moving in with us. I can't believe it. All I want is to be your friend, and you are literally leaving me out in the cold to fend for myself. I never thought my life would come to this. Honestly, how much longer do you think I even have left on this earth? Okay, Grace. I think you're being a little overdramatic with this old woman talk. I mean, you are only 50 years old. That is middle-aged at best by today's standards. I am sorry that you are so worried about your age. But you are healthy, and I think that you still have a lot of life ahead of you. I don't think there is any need to worry as much as you are. But one day I won't be healthy. And then who knows what will happen to me? Who knows how much longer I will last after that? I mean, my husband wasn't much older than me when he suddenly passed. What if that happens to me? How will you feel then? You can't just pretend like I'm not your problem until it's too late. You're right, Grace. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be insensitive about Harold's passing. So then you'll change your mind then. You'll think again about letting me live with you and Jeremy. Then if you two have kids and one of you is sick, I will be there to take care of them while you are bedridden. Okay, but Jeremy and I have already talked about this. Talked about what exactly? Just that if we did have kids, that we could take maternity or paternity leave. And that we would probably send our kids to a preschool anyways. If anything happened, we would probably just rely on those things instead. What? You would send your poor babies to a preschool? You would send them away from their home at such a young age? What's the point of even having kids if you were just going to hand them off to strangers to take care of? You need to be more present in their lives. I understand that you feel that way, but the two of us have talked and we reached a different conclusion. I mean, I went to a preschool when I was young and I never once felt like I was being sent away or that my parents didn't love me or anything like that. My parents were absolutely there for me before and after school. Well then, maybe you are an exception. But kids need to be at home until they are old enough to really start school. And if I was at home, then I could be sure to keep an eye on them while you and Jeremy kept busy with your jobs. Then, when you come back home, there would be so much less for you to deal with. How can you not see the positive in all of this? Grace, please. I really feel like you are just not listening to me. I really appreciate all the help that you are offering us, but the answer is still the same. Well then what would the other do if one of you got sick with something terrible or suffered some big injury and couldn't move? Could you both really just leave the other to do everything around the house while the other was incapacitated? We have thought about what we would do in a terrible scenario like that and have already started putting away some money just in case something terrible like that does happen. But the thing is that something like that hasn't happened yet and doesn't seem likely to in the future. But you can't know that! You never know when disaster is going to strike. Just please, think about all the possibilities. Look, Grace, I am going to tell you this once and for all. You are not going to be moving in with us. That is our final answer and it is going to stay that way. But why? I still don't understand why you won't let me live with you. And just so you know, the answer would be the same even if we were to have kids. In that case, I would quit my job and stay home to take care of them while Jeremy would continue to work. Jeremy and I have already agreed on all of this and do not plan on changing our minds anytime soon. I am your mother-in-law, the mother of your husband. How can you treat me this way? Have you no shame? Look, in our marriage, my parents are just the people that raised me. Of course I love and respect them, but they have no further say in my adult life than that. And I am very grateful that you helped raise Jeremy into the person that he is today. But the answer is still and shall remain a strong no. Well, when you marry someone, your spouse's parents are no longer just their parents. They become your parents too. It doesn't matter who birthed who. I am your mother as well, and you need to show some more respect. I didn't just raise my son. I became your mother the moment you said I do to him. Grace, I just do not see things that way. It is as simple as that. When I said I do, it was to Jeremy and Jeremy alone. I was not agreeing to become anyone's daughter or anything like that. Do you even hear yourself right now? You are sounding ridiculous. Do you really think you could have married my Jeremy without my explicit permission? Okay, this is sounding ridiculous. What are you even talking about? Do you remember when Jeremy brought me over to introduce me to you and your husband? You were furious and absolutely against the two of us being together. It took Harold convincing you to finally tolerate us being together. And? So what? That still doesn't change anything that I said. The fact of the matter is that your marriage could not have happened if I didn't allow it to happen first. Well, I am sure that at the time you certainly felt that way. But even if you had said no, I can guarantee you that it would not have stopped Jeremy and I from marrying each other. What are you talking about? You don't know anything. He is my son and he would have done whatever I told him to do. And so should you. You owe your marriage to me. Do you really have no intention of paying me back for all I've done for you two? If you want to talk about you letting us get married, then that is fine. But it has nothing to do with you living together with us. And if you think that one should lead to the other, then I have beachfront property in Arizona that you just gotta see. Of course one should lead to the other. How else are you going to show me your gratitude? Besides, Jeremy is my oldest child. It is only natural that he should be the one to take care of me in my sunset years. I thought you were going to try and pull this card. In fact, I have suspected for a long time that it was the thought of trying to bring that up that made you okay with the idea of the two of us getting married in the first place. That's right. So if you don't tell Jeremy that he better let me live with the two of you right away, then I'll cut him off. I'll never speak to him again. How do you like that, huh? Obviously, I don't want that to happen, but the decision to do that is ultimately yours at the end of the day, so... Fine. Have it your way, then. From now on, you two are never going to be hearing from me and have access to my help ever again. And no matter how desperate and terrible things become for you, I am never going to lift even a finger to help you two out of whatever situation you might be in. And you can consider yourselves out of my will as well. Again, I am sorry that you feel the need to take it to this point. But those are all of your choices to make, and we won't stop you. I can't believe this. I knew that I should have never let the two of you marry. Well, now neither of you are my children, and one day you'll both regret the cruelty that you put me through.
Hello. I am terribly sorry to message you like this suddenly. This is the number for Sally Freeman, correct?
Sorry, is this Grace? Is something the matter? Why are you talking to me like that?
Again, terribly sorry to be messaging you like this. Yes, this is the number for Grace Freeman's phone number. But my name is Carl Gray. I am a lawyer hired by Mrs. Freeman.
Sorry. What? I don't understand. You're a lawyer she hired. Texting me through her phone? What is this all about?
I have come to deliver a message to you in place of Mrs. Freeman. She has told me that lately you have been acting very unstable, and she fears that if she were to contact you directly, that it might result in some kind of violent action being taken against her by you.
I'm sorry. She said, what about me?
That is why I am using Mrs. Freeman's phone to contact you in her stead. Please understand.
No, seriously. What is going on here? This can't be real. What is this all about?
I know it might seem strange, but sometimes individuals do these things. It is not as unusual as you may think. Anyways, I am a lawyer, and you can trust me.
Look, I really don't understand, if I'm being honest. This whole thing seems pretty ridiculous. But okay, supposing that you are a real lawyer, I imagine there are much better, less unusual ways to contact someone. No? For example, you could come directly to my house, or call me from a number from your own office, right? Why do you have to message me from Grace's phone?
Well, yes, there are those ways that we could have contacted you. But since Mrs. Freeman was worried about any violence you might have taken out on her, we decided it was best to reach out to you through her phone. She thought it would be the safest method to talk to you since you would not have access to my workplace or phone number.
So, you're a lawyer, but you are going to refuse to tell me where your office is or show any kind of proof that you are who you say you are. Am I getting that right?
Please, ma'am. I am only here as a messenger for Mrs. Freeman. If you do not allow me to present my case to you, then I am afraid that I will have to pursue further legal action against you.
Further? What are you even talking about? Oh, this is silly, but okay. Sure, go for it. Say what you have to say.
To establish the fact before presenting anything further, Is it correct to say that you are currently married to and living with Mrs. Freeman's son, Jeremy, without her explicit approval of such an arrangement? And is it also true that current house you are living in is one that you and Jeremy paid for?
Yes, I guess you could say that. Though I don't really think those are things that you need someone's permission to do when it comes to the law.
Yes, that is correct. You do not need Mrs. Freeman's permission to buy that house. However, I have been hired to inform you that the current home that you and Jeremy Freeman are currently occupying is, in fact, in violation of the city's building code. Are you aware of this fact?
Wait, what? What are you talking about? What violation?
The house is in violation of the city's building code, as I have just stated. Given the fact that living in and maintaining a home in violation of said code comes with legal penalties, I am hereby serving you notice that you, Sally Freeman, must vacate your domicile immediately or face further consequences.
What even is this? This is ridiculous. The house plans were inspected before ground was ever broken. I'll humor you, though. What part of my house exactly is in violation?
I have evidence of many such violations sitting here before me on my desk.
Okay, then. I formally request that you allow me to see your documents for myself.
I am afraid that without first having your explicit agreement to vacate your home, that I will not be able to show you the countless violations that you are currently guilty of.
So basically, you are asking me to leave my home without first seeing a single shred of evidence for why I should have to. Do you really think that is how the law works? And besides, why are you talking as if I would be the only one required to leave the house?
These are complex legal matters that are best left in the hands of professional lawyers such as myself. Do not question them. As for your inquiry, yes, only you would be required to leave. After which point Mrs. Freeman will rebuild the house according to the city code. To put it in simple terms, you, Sally Freeman, are required to vacate the house, which will promptly be occupied by Grace and Jeremy Freeman.
And can you tell me just how it ends up with me being the only person made to move out? None of this is making any sense.
If I am understanding the situation correctly, the deed of the house is currently in your name, correct? You will sign over your house to Mrs. Freeman and vacate the premises immediately, or my firm will be forced to take swift and brutal legal action against you.
And just what might this swift and brutal legal action entail, huh?
You will be forcibly removed from your home by officers of the law.
You do realize that this whole lawyer act you've been putting on is just absolutely ridiculous, don't you?
This is no act. I am a very serious lawman, and the law is not to be trifled with. I have been hired by Mrs. Freeman to protect her interests and the integrity of the law, and I take my job very seriously.
I see. I am so sure about that.
You are hereby served with a 1-week notice to vacate the premises. If you have not done so in the allocated period, then I will be forced to begin preparations to have you forcibly evicted. Thank you for your cooperation.
I am sorry, but this whole thing seems a little one-sided to me. Isn't there supposed to be a chance for me to state my case? You can't just say, "Thank you for your cooperation," and disappear.
If you have any qualms about the facts of the matter that I have presented to you here, you are free to bring them up in a court during a civil trial.
Are you seriously trying to challenge me to take this fake lawyer to court? Is that really what you want to have happen?
I am merely informing you of your rights to a fair and impartial trial under the law. Though I feel it is my duty to warn you that cases like these are usually quite long and very costly. After all, the blame for all of this does lie solely on you. It is my professional opinion, as a licensed and legitimate lawyer, that this is a case that you simply cannot win.
I see. Well, in that case, you do what you have to do, and I will do what I have to do. How does that sound?
Should I present that as your answer to Mrs. Freeman, then? I am sure that you are quite busy with your work, so please take some time to think a bit further on how you would like to respond. And if you change your mind, feel free to get in contact with me at this number.
Hello. I am terribly sorry for messaging you so suddenly. This is the phone for Miss Grace Freeman, correct? Hello? Yes. This is she. Sorry, may I ask who this is messaging me? Good. Pleased to meet you. My name is Dan Lansbury. I am a lawyer hired by my client, Mrs. Sally Freeman. Excuse me. You're a lawyer? Wow, she really did go so far as to hire a lawyer. Nah, no way. I don't believe it. Show me proof that you are who you say you are, or quit wasting my time. Yes, of course. I am so sorry to bother you. I tried going to your house to speak to you personally, but it appeared that no one was home. I have actually tried calling you several times, but got no answer. However, if you search this phone number, I am sure that you would be able to find my firm. And if you chose to come by, then I would be more than happy to show you my business card. Wait a second. You came to my house? Are you really a lawyer? And this isn't some kind of joke. No, ma'am. Here, I will send you a picture of my business card. I hope that serves as enough proof for you. Wow. So you are a real lawyer. Sorry, I just really didn't think that Sally would have gone so far as to hire a lawyer. Well, if I understand it correctly, you were the first to approach my client with a lawyer that you hired. In fact, that is what I would like to discuss with you today. Oh, right. That. So, then what about it? What would a lawyer like you want with me? Well, I had a couple questions about the lawyer whom you had contacted my client. I was wondering if you might be able to share with me the name of his firm. Well, I couldn't share information like that with you. Oh, well, may I ask why not? Why not? My lawyer asked me not to. Lawyer's code or something like that. Pardon my saying, but I don't think it is that you don't want to tell me. I think it is rather that you can't tell me. The reason for that being because your lawyer doesn't actually exist. Is that correct? Excuse me? And just what is that supposed to mean? Of course I have a real lawyer. What is this really about? Quit messing with me. I am sorry, but the only information that you have given about your so-called lawyer is his name. And yet you can't, or refuse to, provide any way to contact him or even where he works. I am sorry to say, but if that is all you can provide, then I do not think that you really have a lawyer at all. Well, that was just because my lawyer told me that I didn't have to give anyone that kind of information. Well, that may be all well and good, but the fact is that a lawyer should not be giving you that kind of legal advice. If a lawyer refuses to show any proof of their certifications, then I really do not think that that is a trustworthy lawyer. Okay, I have had just about enough of this. Carl Gray is a real and legitimate lawyer. Of course he really exists. I have had just about enough of this silly little game of yours. I am afraid that that is simply not true. He does not exist. And just how do you know that? Where is your proof that he doesn't exist? Well, okay, if you say so. But if he really says that he is a lawyer, then please tell me how I might reach this Mr. Gray. But I've already explained to you that I can't do that. I promised him. I just can't. Mrs. Freeman, are you aware that impersonating a lawyer is against the law and a criminal offense? What? What are you saying? What are you trying to imply? I am saying that impersonating a lawyer is against the law and has consequences. And while they may not be as serious as other crimes, The fact of the matter is that it is illegal for someone to pretend to be a lawyer when they are not. Do you need me to explain this to you any further?
Wait a second. Just hold on. Okay, I get it. So, I guess the secret is out, huh? You figured out that I was just pretending to be Carl Gray.
Yes, in fact, it was not that difficult to parse out at all, if I'm being honest.
But I had a good reason for doing so. This has got to matter, right? Sally and my son. They built their house in secret and I felt threatened. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, sorry. I'm afraid that I'm not really following you.
Well, that's... Okay, wait, I got it. What if you become my lawyer instead? I can pay you with the money we get when we sue the pants off of Sally. If you help me, I promise that I'll make it worth your while. You'll be rich.
I am afraid that I will have to pass on that offer. I was hired legitimately by Mrs. Freeman, and I have no interest in working for a criminal lawyer impersonator such as yourself.
What? Just who do you think you're calling a criminal?
I am calling you a criminal, of course. And I do plan on reporting you both to the state bar as well as the police.
Okay, wait, please. Just hold on. You don't have to do this. Do we really have to get the police involved? Surely it isn't that serious. I just wanted to scare my daughter-in-law a bit for the way that she and my son were treating me. But I didn't know it was a crime. It was just a big misunderstanding.
I am sorry, but this isn't a problem that will simply go away just because you didn't know that what you were doing was a crime.
Okay, fine, I get it. You drive a hard bargain, but I'll pay you 3 times. 3 times whatever Sally is paying you to make this all go away. Then you can come and work for me and we can go after Sally together.
I don't want or need your money, Mrs. Freeman. And I certainly will not let myself be bribed into becoming your lawyer. In fact, I intend to prosecute you to the full extent of the law for what you've done. I will see you in court.
What? You mean you're going to sue me? I'm going to have to go to court? But why? I didn't even do anything, really. You stopped me before anything really bad happened.
I heard that you threatened my client with forced eviction from her home under false pretenses of a violated building code. And yet, my client, Mrs. Freeman, tells me that you failed to show any proof of these alleged violations. I am afraid that in such a case, I am really left with no other choice but to take you to court.
But I am telling you that there is no need for all of this. It's just a misunderstanding. I was only trying to scare her a little. Isn't this all too much? I mean, I don't even know anything about the building code. I was just coming up with something so that I could make her feel a little pressure is all. Is that really worth taking someone to court?
Well, I can assure you that there are no building code violations whatsoever present in the home of my client. And for your information, typically after a building is completed, it is inspected to make sure that everything is up to code. Then the owners are given a certification of inspection along with the deed. And that proof includes a date by which they should have their house inspected next.
Well, I don't even know what any of that means. And some help that does me now. What am I even supposed to do with that information? I mean, I don't even care about the building code or anything like that. I was just trying to make Sally and my son get a divorce so that I could move in and live with him.
Well, I am afraid that any chance of that happening is well behind you now.
What? What do you mean by that?
Well, I have talked to both Mrs. Freeman and her husband, your son, Jeremy, and they have both said that in light of all these events, they want to completely cut their ties with you. Of course, it is far beyond the reach of the law to actually enforce something like that, but they have both said that they wish to renounce any inheritance that you might have left for them. They also wished for me to tell you that if they find you near their house, following them in any sort of way, or trying anything like this ever again, that they will file for a restraining order against you.
Wait, please. What did I even do? This is all too much. I mean, honestly, I didn't even do anything. Besides, I'm their mother. They can't just throw me away like this. It's unacceptable. They can't do this to me.
I am merely their lawyer and passing along what they wished for me to tell you. I don't really have any control over the situation at all.
But then, well, can you tell me what is going to happen to me?
Well, you might be arrested for what you've done. Or you might get away with just a fine. To be honest, I can't give you a clear answer without seeing how the case develops.
You can't be serious. I'm Jeremy's mother. I'm Sally's mother-in-law. I'm practically her mother, too. They can't do this to me.
You keep calling yourself their parent, but I am afraid that even if that were true, that still does not mean that you can do whatever you would like. Even children have rights. And the fact of the matter is that what you did was a crime.
But I didn't know. How could I even know something like that was a crime?
Well, whether or not it will be treated as a crime is ultimately up to the police and the state bar, not myself. But either way, I hope that you can take some time to reflect deeply on what you've done here.
Please, wait. You can't just leave me like this. I'll have nowhere to go. You have to help me.
Grace was reported to both the police and the state bar. But given that it was only done over messaging and no real harm was ultimately done to anyone, Grace was let off with a mere warning. The court ultimately decided that Grace did what she did due to the stress she felt from her aging. After hearing about that, however, Grace's daughter Anna also decided to cut off any contact with her mother. As for Jeremy and I, we followed through with our promise of cutting her off and never had anything to do with her again. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to see more content like this.